efficiently in college, first you have to decide, what am I learning? Is it a concept or a fact? A fact is the discrete little piece of information. Sigmund Freud is the father of psychoanalysis. That's a fact, okay? But understanding what psychoanalysis is a concept, okay? Understanding the name of a bone is a fact. Understanding what it does in the body gets into a concept, okay? So in studying, sometimes there are a lot of facts. In fact, I use anatomy as a good example. You got to memorize bones, muscles, organs, tissues, a lot of it. But if you simply memorize and don't understand the function of it, the comprehension of the actual concepts, it's a lot of wasted learning, really. Just to know a name of a bone is like, yes, so what? Okay? What does it do? How does it function? So, if it's a fact or a factoid, you have to approach it one way, and I'll talk about how you do that. But in most college classes, what we as professors are most concerned about is that you grasp the concept. Because concepts, once grasped, will stay with you a lifetime. Facts can easily get confused, but that's why we have Google, why we have reference books. If you know the concept, you can quickly look up the fact if you have to know that for a particular fact. Neat thing is, I get questions, who has more advantage, younger students or older students? Depends on what you're talking about. Most of us, as we get older, realize concepts are what are really important to make our lives better, to be effective in our work, to be effective in our personal lives. Facts, though, we realize we can look up. We can get those if we need them. Young people actually often learn facts very quickly, but they never think about the concept. And I'll give you a simple example. I'm an old guy. When I was a bit younger, I would sing along with the radio with my adolescent daughter in the car. Oh, Dad, if you don't know the words, don't sing the song. I'd say, okay, Beth, you're right. I'm not singing exactly what he or she's singing, but it's conceptually the same. What? I'd say, what's the song about? I don't know. She couldn't tell me what the song was about, but she could tell me every word in the song. That's learning facts and not seeing the concept. I, as an adult, I know the concept. I just make up my own lyrics, okay? Because I don't worry about the factual. Now, some of you are going, yeah, but my teacher does. I got to know the facts as well as the concepts. So we'll first deal with concepts. Here's the question. Can you put the concept in your own words? If you can't, you don't really understand it. Okay? It's not meaningful to you. To make it meaningful is a struggle. It's probably the biggest struggle you have as a student. But it's a struggle you need to do, or you're wasting your study time. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Only one of you probably in this room will understand what I just say, or will be saying. Ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. And I knew she would get that. How many of you know exactly what I'm talking about? Raj, you do? Cool, 2 of you. Ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. And most of you are going, it's all Greek to me. It's actually probably more Latin, but I'm not certain of that, okay? When I was a biology student, I learned about the ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. And if you try to learn that and you don't understand it, it's going to go in one ear and out the other, okay? You can't hold on to it. But if I take a moment to break it down, ontogeny means your own development as a being, okay? You as a human, for example. Recapitulates means goes back through or recaptures, retraces phylogeny, which is the development all the way from single cell to complex mammal. Now, to make sense of that, how did all of you start in utero? A single fertilized cell, right? An ovum that's fertilized, and then it starts dividing and you get all that. But you get a little period, and this is what they first looked at embryos, where we look like a little thing that looks like a tadpole, right? Yeah, tadpole-ish. So we start with a single egg that's fertilized, and then we get this little thing that looks kind of like a tadpole, and they thought these were gill slits, okay? They're not, they're just what becomes the thoracic area. But there's no legs. It looks like a little tail. Oh, we had a tail. Got the idea? Well, then we get our arm buds and we get them growing, so we now get arms and legs. And gradually, we start looking more like a human being. By the way, take an embryo of any mammal. You probably couldn't tell one from the other. Human, pig, doesn't matter. They all look very much alike, don't they? Now, you understand ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. But if an instructor doesn't take the time to tell you that, and you just read it and go, whatever, I'll memorize it, you will forget it about as quickly as you can get through it. I'm not going to prove this. You all get to do a little memory task. Got to find the right. Here we go. I'm going to read to you 13 letters from our alphabet. You all know the alphabet, right? Should be meaningful. As soon as I finish, I want you to say them back to me in the same sequence that I give them to you. So I'll say them and then I'll go like that. Just say them back. Y, T, R, H, don't write them. A, U, S, P, D, P, A, Y, H. Boy, somebody sounded like they got quite a few, but did any of you get all 13? By the way, the fact that you took notes is a good thing. It's one of the best things to help you remember. And I sit in front of classes where they just go, for 50 minutes I'm giving them wisdom, and they're not taking a damn note. And then they wonder why they don't remember. You can't remember everything in a lecture. I'm going to rearrange the letters a little bit, see if you do any better. H, A, P, P, Y, T, H, U, R, S, D, A, Y. The letters in sequence. Oh, letters. Most of you got all 13. And you thought coming to this lecture you might gain nothing. I've just taken your short-term memory span, which is usually 5 to about 9 letters, and expanded it to 13. Could you give them again? What are they? Damn, you're good. Or I'm good. Now, obviously, it was a little easier. Those were the same 13 letters. Same ones. If you're studying anything conceptual and you're trying to memorize it, it's like Y, T, R. It doesn't make any sense. It's in one eye, out the other. If it's out loud, one ear, out the other. But if you take the time to discover the meaning in it, suddenly it clicks. And I could probably ask you next week what were the 13 letters, and most of you tell me. At the end of the quarter, I could ask you. Most of you could tell me. You might be confused. Was it Happy Wednesday or Thursday? But you'd guess probably Thursday. Now, some of you are in my intro class this quarter. And I do something that I wish I had time to do. I divide the class in two, using a card so half reads one, the other half reads another card. I have one group try to estimate the number of vowels in a series of words that I read to them. So they're thinking about the words, but we'd say that's superficial thinking. How many vowels in mosquito? How many vowels in bottle? How many vowels in elephant? And they get to write down what they think is the number of vowels. The second group are instructed. They're told you need to think about how valuable this item would be if you were stranded on a deserted island. And you then rate its value on a 5-point scale, 1 being no value, 5 being highly valuable. That's called deeper processing. You're now thinking about it in terms of its application or use. By the way, I always think elephant is a fun one. I'd give it a 5, okay? Not only company, but if you got really hungry, you got a lot of food there, right? I then read, I think it's about 30 words. Everybody's writing down their numbers. I then have them do a stalling exercise where they write their name, phone number, and address. That's to dump short-term memory, because they might be thinking about the words I just read. If you're now writing your name and address, it changes your focus. Short-term memory only lasts about 20 to 30 seconds. It's pretty brief. So I count it on the clock. After 30 seconds, I say, now, write down as many words that you can recall. This one is so powerful. The group that's counting vowels, on average, remembers 5 out of about 30 words. Time and time again. The group that's thinking about the usefulness on a deserted island remembers 10. Okay? It's slightly more, 5.5 versus 10.5. But very close to a doubling without doing any more effort, simply by thinking about it instead of just trying to superficially think about it. And this is where, as a student, the more you get into the understanding, the better. Now this then raises a fun question. What is the meaning of meaning? If I say something is meaningful or meaningless, what am I really saying? Now I'm not going to go through a big drill, which is kind of fun of teasing it out of you. But a meaningful piece is a piece that relates to something you already know. And the best little analogy is, it's like a file system that you've already got established. You add a new entry to it, so it's all neatly organized. And it's very easy if you've got a file system to add a new entry. We do it with computers also. The other way, meaningless. It's where something new doesn't fit with something already established. And so it's Greek to you. Its ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. What did you say? Okay. If it's something brand new and you can't relate it, you have to create a new entry. So you have to grapple with it. You have to say, what does that mean? But as I broke it down, I bet you could associate it with something you already understood. You've probably all seen little embryos. You got the idea of an egg, the idea that it kind of recaptures our development from a primitive one cell to a very complex mammal. You get that idea. That's the meaning of meaningfulness. Now, as a teacher, I think all of us, or as we are teachers, we all try to make things meaningful in our classes. So we give stories, we give examples, but sometimes our examples don't work for you. This is where